Sorry about that, guys. Alrighty, Nate, did you want to start?
He's muted.
Nate, you're on mute.
Any changes, Chris and Lance, and since I last talked to you over the weekend, any injuries or switch of events or anything?
Not for us. As of right now, we're healthy and happy, and knocking on wood.
Chris, any question?
Yeah, same with us, Nate. I think from when we talked last week, we're good to go.
LSU is still your main concern, Chris?
Yeah, I mean, I got a lot of concerns. So it's the they just bumped ahead of us on the national ranking. They're legit. They got some stars. They're well-rounded. They came in here a couple of years ago and won the outdoor championship, and so they've tasted it, and I know they're gunning for it. So they will certainly be one of the teams we have to contend with, for sure. Yeah.
Yeah, I guess Chris or Lance, A&M is still your biggest concern.
Yeah, A&M is number 2 in the nation. Georgia is number 4. So 3 out of the 4 are in the SEC. Yes, we definitely have the target on our back as we'll go in as the favorite. And we'll just have to take advantage of the scoring opportunities we have. And I think we have a lot of bullets to fire. So we just have to hold off our fellow SEC competitors.
Thank you.
Bob, do you have a question?
I guess this would be for Lance and Chris. Lance, maybe you can take it first, and then Chris, just how do you feel about your teams, going in, and do you feel like you guys are the teams to beat?
As far as the women go, yes. I think it's pretty well known that what we've been able to do during the course of our previous 5 meets, things have gone very, very well across the board. Our vaulters, our middle distance crew, our distance crew, and of course our sprint and jump crew. So the only tweak that we have is our multi-vendor, Gigi Edwards, had a little bit of a knee issue 2 weeks ago, but she's been training since. And, as of right now, everybody seems to be healthy and happy. The only curveball that could be thrown at us is the SEC is going to mandate another testing process on Thursday. And so we have no control over that. We just were told today that all our women were negative from our test on Monday. So that's good news. But then again, we're going to do another test.
Yeah, Chris, do you feel like how do you feel about the team going in? Do you feel like you guys are the team to be with especially with your depth?
Yeah, I think so. When you just go straight off the descending order list and look at, just add the points up on that. I think, you look at the fact that we're probably out ahead of a few schools, but when you strategically start looking at who's running what and who's going to be where, then that gap closes quite significantly. So it's going to come down to great racing, great competition. We're going to have to, be dialed in if we want to be able to, take the meet. So, but I would have to say, I would have to think that for most schools, everybody's pointing towards us. We have to prove it.
And I guess for both y'all, like maybe who's doubling, who maybe is even tripling, or who do you see as your, I mean, I know in a meet like this, you got to get first, but you got to get seventh and eights too. And really
Exactly.
everywhere between first and eight. But who would be your main folks that you're counting on and to come through in multiple events?
Well, I think in our situation, our vault crew in math is all capable of scoring. Our sprint crew led by Rosia Fong and Paris Peoples and Jada Baylark, all are mainstays in that cadre and are very capable of scoring big for us. The middle distance crew is led by Chrissy Gear and Kennedy Thompson. They've got to score big points. And then the distances, Lauren Gregory and Katie Izzo are two mainstays. The problem with this year's SEC schedule, and it is a mirror image of the NCAA schedule, is the traditional doubles that people could do. Lauren Gregory, for example, was a All-American her freshman year in mile and the 3000. Well, that double is very, very difficult because the window of not having the men and women integrated together, they're totally separated. And so our men's window is an hour and a half, our women's window is an hour and a half. So a lot of the natural doubles that occurred during the major part of the season are now either almost impossible or are impossible. So that tightens up the scoring because now we got to pick and choose which events to try to get big points in, and then also get those people that are get those 6th, 7th, and 8th points to come together as well. So I think in general it's going to tighten the scoring up amongst the better teams, the more teams that have a lot of depth.
So like for Katie and Lauren and whoever, like who do you have doubling?
Well, Katie will run the 5 and the 3. That is a natural double that does work, one on one day, one on Friday and one on Saturday. But the traditional mile 3, which is definitely one of our strengths, is only an hour apart. And so people that might have been favored in those races now have to kind of pick and choose which one they really want to emphasize. They might still run it, but it's going to be very much a challenge.
So did you have some people doubling in that though in the 3 and the mile?
Yes, yeah, 5 of them. So
After all that, Lance, you have 5 people doubling.
and they have great marks, great seed marks, but it's how deep in the well do you have to go in the mile to be able to, get a drink of water and catch your breath, and then have to jump back in the 3000 soon thereafter. And that'll take its toll on some people.
Yeah. So who are those 5?
Well, in the 3000, we'll have Katie Izzo coming back from the 5. Lauren Gregory's coming back from the 3, or from the mile. Chrissy Gear's coming back from the mile. Kennedy Thompson is coming back from the mile. I'm forgetting someone that's a mainstay for us. So we have quite a cadre. Abby Gray is going to do the 5-3 double. Gracie Hyde, who has just done a fantastic job of improving, she's in the mile 3 as well.
Okay. And then Chris, who do you see as your mainstays, and who's doubling?
Yeah, I mean, I can't overstate, what Lance has said enough. I mean, not only the mile and the 3K about an hour apart, but you've got the 400 in the 4x4. That's an hour apart, and then you have the 200. And then the hurdles are less. Even the 200, you got 30 minutes between the 200 and the 4x4. So it affects all those running events across the board, and really has made us really take a look at, hey, who, a triple, Bob, was not uncommon to see a guy triple like in the DMR mile. I mean, we had Cameron Griffith do it, right? He DMR mile, 3K, that type of thing. And, that's, those things are close to being out the window. So just like Lance said, we have to do what we have to do, and we're going to have to double some people, even though they have an hour apart, whether it's our 400-meter runners to the 4x4, the 200, and then 30 minutes later running a 4x4 or the mile, 3K, all that comes into play, and we're just going to have to deal with it. And, the doublers the big doublers that we have are those kids that are Jalen Brown, and those guys that are in the 400 come back in the 4x4, and James Mulholland is another one. And then you look at the 3K, a mile 3K, and basically the only person we have doing that is Eamon Kemboy, and so Eamon will run the mile 3K. Everybody else, my other doublers are a day apart. We got guys in the 5K, Gilbert Boyd, Matt Young, Jacob McLeod. Those guys will come back the next day in the 3K.
And I guess one more, the last competition last year was when you guys swept these SEC titles. That seemed like a long time ago, or how long ago was that? And then how sweet would it be to win it again?
2 weeks ago, or 2 more weeks from now, is when we were in Albuquerque, New Mexico a year ago and got chased out of Albuquerque. So it's been a year. The SEC title for the men and women last year, it almost seems like a distant memory, since track and field's been put on the shelf ever since. But it's always a highlight for our crew and our staff that the SEC means a lot to us. And we've won some titles, and we want to continue to keep that going. If you got them down, let's try to keep them down.
Chris, what would you say about that?
Winning is a lot of fun, and that's kind of the goal, is for us to win those meets. I mean, we look at track and field. I think Lance does the same way. We look at it as a team sport, and we feel like this is our opportunity to get as many athletes as we can possibly get on a podium. So it's not just a select few at the national championships or an elite group. It's a chance to get 27 athletes on that top podium. And, we feel like that success breeds success across the board, whatever we do. And every championship that we run, whether it's cross country, indoor and outdoor, we get a lot of worth out of that. We think it's really important. We think it helps our athletes develop more fully. And so, we put a lot of emphasis in this meet, and we think it's really important to our program. It's always our first line of defense is the SEC championships.
Yeah. I might have a couple more, but I'll turn it back to Sean if he comes, hits me late.
All righty, thanks, Bob. Eric, did you have a couple of questions?
I did. Chris, will start with you, and then Lance. You mentioned guys like Kemboy and some of the other young athletes. I mean, even a freshman like Ruben, transfer like Lamonius. How excited are you for them to experience this first championship?
Eric, there's nothing like it. This championship, this SEC meet in track and field is indoor and out. They're phenomenal, and they're unbelievable events. And so, that's why we get, a lot of kids want to come here and experience that. It's helped our recruiting. We have grad transfers and people that transfer in because, they want to experience the SEC championship and be an SEC champion themselves. So, it's just, it's a real meaningful event for us.
And, like Chris said, it's a highlight. In fact, I would venture to say the SEC meet is probably more exciting than the NCAA meet. And the reason why is you have more athletes involved, and there's much more of that team camaraderie between men and women and event groups and so on and so forth, because that number 7 or 8 place can be just as important as a win. especially when it, accumulates to a team title. So yeah, I think it's a great competition and there's lots of spirit. Unfortunately, this year we've been told we can't have fans, and I do know that if we had fans in this building with the way it looks now aesthetically and how fast the track is, it could be simply outstanding. And we have athletes that are on our teams that are not going to be allowed into the facility because of the limitations by the health department. So if you made the top 27, you're extra special because you actually get to get in and watch a great track meet and obviously participate as well.
And Lance, just to piggyback off that real quick, because you mentioned her early on when you were listing the the duality of all your distance kids. You mentioned I mean, I think about Logan. I mean, obviously she experienced ACC championships, but now, and that's special, but it's not the SEC championships. I can say that because I've been to both. But I look at a young woman like Gracie Hyde, right? This girl was a 4:52 miler at Central Arkansas. She's now a 4:37 miler for you, and still with a lot of upside. Like, how cool is that? That someone that may have never even sniffed a meaningful conference championship, let alone an NCAA championship, and now she's as vital a cog in your in your distance depth as anybody that you have.
The Logans and the Kennedys and Chrissy Gear and Gracie Hyde, all of them, are super excited about being a part of potentially an SEC competition, as well as potentially challenging for a title. And the esprit de corps that occurs is just really outstanding. And when they see people like Gracie improve so much in the program, it kind of gives a reconfirmation to each and every one of them that, hey, we must be doing something right, because this kid was in college for 2 years and ran 4:52 or 4:54, and then ran 4:37. So obviously it's working for her. I guess it's working for all of us. So I think it's just, again, a sign of, hey, things are going in the right direction, and let's take advantage of it.
Thank you both.
Dan, did you have a question?
I did, yes, thanks. Hi, guys. It looks like the weather's good. I'm coming from Arizona. I thought I was going to see snow, but it looks like the weather is good. But hey, first off, with the SECs this week, NCAA's in 2 weeks, followed by the cross country, are you guys making any adjustments on who you're entering in events at this particular meet because you know what's coming down the road in 2 weeks?
On the women's side, yes. People like Lauren Gregory, that is a keynote for us in all three competitions. We got to baby her a little bit at this meet to ultimately get her ready for the national indoor meet, and then carry that to the national cross country championships. I think in the wit and wisdom of some committee in the NCAA, and I don't think anybody's standing forward going, I'll take responsibility for that decision, but they could have moved it back another week with no problem and made much more of a true competition for everybody involved and for the safety factor of the athlete. But, I think in the wit and wisdom of some of these committees, I don't think they ever think of the athlete. They think of what's convenient for the administration. And so we have to adjust accordingly.
Chris, how about you? You making any adjustments on your personnel leading into NCs and cross over the next 2 weeks?
Yeah, I mean, for a couple of our guys, yes. I mean, we're all in on indoor track, but certainly, Dan, that enters into our mind the fact that we go from Saturday to Monday, going from indoor track back to cross country again. But the decision we made was, hey, we're all in on indoor track. We're all in on doing the best we can, and then we'll let the cards, fall where they may, chips fall where they may when we get to Monday's race, that cross country championship. So, you can only go to the well, as you know, go to the well so many times, right? And so you're absolutely right. That's a great question. We have thought about that, not only with, playing more of a longer game maybe than a short game, and trying to implement a few little things that might help us on the cross-country course, whether it might be training or a particular workout on the grass where we normally would come back and just be on the indoor track. But for the most part, you got to be careful with a guy like Eamon Kemboy that you don't use him too much because he's got a lot of races, not only during the indoor in March, but, you got to think about June. So,
Okay. Hey, I'll stay with you, Chris. You guys got a good chance on Thursday to, get some points, or a Thursday, Friday, get some points out of those multi-events. How important are those guys to you guys getting off to a good start?
Oh, it's huge. Mario Catania, Coach Catania, has done a phenomenal job with those kids. I'm really excited to watch them to compete. Just watching them hurdle a little bit yesterday, they really look fresh, and they're excited to run this weekend and compete in those multi events. And so, yes, I mean, I'm not lying to you. We're expecting big things out of that group as a whole, and I'm excited to watch Marcus compete and watch him progress. This weekend in a big competition.
Not all schools are really set up like Arkansas, but you guys over the years seem to, take pride in the fact that you're continuing to coach post-collegiate athletes. And just, what does it mean to have a guy like Ryan Krauser, around the team, volunteer assisting. He seems like, and he's done great things already this indoor season. What has his impact been?
Dan, it's been huge. He's just made a tremendous impact. We have a young thrower by the name of Ruben Banks, and Ruben is a freshman this year, came from IMG. He put the weight out around 71 feet. For a freshman, that's pretty good. But if you look at him, you can see the potential he has, not just in the 35-pound weight, but mainly the hammer throw, and just the work ethic in the weight room, just the attention to detail and the diet and all that Ryan exhibits and talks to those guys and lifts with them. And it's just, you can't put a price on that. And we are so fortunate that he came to Fayetteville to be with Coach Catania and to be willing to work with our guys. And so it's been awesome. I mean, he's the best in the world, and he's such a humble, thoughtful. He's one of those elite athletes that can relate to anybody on our team, and you don't always find that. So,
Sure.
He's done a great job.
All right, guys, maybe both of you can comment on this. The SEC has been a leader in college sports this season. They forged ahead with the football season. You guys started putting on meets right away. How important was it for you guys to, I think set an example with the American Track League, with your college meets, that done safely, done correctly, this can make sense, and we can do it right.
I think it all goes back to the ultimate leadership of obviously our athletic director and his staff, and then obviously our commissioner, Mr. Sankey's just been a leader in the whole process, and he's the one that told us, hey, we're going to have a cross country season, and so that gave a lot of positive momentum clear back in the summer, and then that just kind of it was completed on time. There was no issues whatsoever, and I think that gave a lot of momentum that we could pull off indoor track. And so many doubters across the nation were going, well, I don't think so, it's inside, so on and so forth. Well, we ended up playing men's and women's basketball, no problem. So I think that we were able to show as an example that track and field could happen. And there's some of these crazy commissioners across the nation and athletic directors already canceling spring sports. Is there that much golf time out there that people are going to just play golf all year? So I think it's a real tragedy because they're not thinking of the athlete. If they ask the athletes at those respective schools what their opinion was, I'm sure there was no doubt they wanted to compete.
Yeah, I mean, ditto to what Lance said. Hunter Yurachek was the one when we went to him and said, "Hey, I think this American Track League thing will be good if we can do it, without any other distractions with our other sports and even our track teams and everything." And he basically said, "If you think it's good, let's give it a go." So it really does. Dan starts at the top with just he knows how we operate our meets. I think he knows how efficient we are with our collegiate meets, and so I think that was a big part of it. And our hats off our administrative staff, even in track, whether it's Megan Elliott or Matt Downs, our director of ops, have done a phenomenal job, not only managing our 5 huge track meets, but also the American Track League. And I will say one other thing. Everybody's into slogans and logos and all that kind of stuff and branding. And, we've got this track capital of the world kind of mantra that probably is stretched in some ways, but really it really, that's part of how we do things. We invited the best teams collegiately, and just about all of them came that could come. And we had the American Track League, and we, our people went out of their way to make sure that, we can have these meets. And I think they got better and better each week. You look at the performances across the board, the collegiate records and the outstanding performances on our team. And that's kind of why it's the track capital, because, we're open for business. And, that's something that's really important. We have this phenomenal facility that just keeps getting better and better. And if you go down there, when you see it, you'll just see the improvements that we've made, the investment that our school has made, and our donors, the Tyson family, that the things that have been done, we have an obligation to put that on TV if we get a chance. We need to show that off, and it's for the state of Arkansas why we do it. And so that's really a passion of Lance and mine and our staff. And we're not gonna be ashamed to say it. So we're thrilled we're able to get it done. Now we're gonna host the 2 biggest collegiate meets, going right after all these other meets that we've had, and we're ready to roll. So we're excited about it.
All right, thanks. And last one for both of you. We said it was 2 weeks, last year, just 2 weeks from now, the season gets canceled, outdoor season gets canceled shortly after. How were you guys able to keep morale up, last spring and through the summer and even the fall, really with doubt? And was there anybody in particular who, showed a exemplary leadership during that time?
It was 3:30 in the afternoon in Albuquerque, New Mexico, when we got the call and said, "Hey, you guys need to get out of here, find your transportation and head on out." And it was a real low point for a lot of people. But at the same time, when we were on the plane flying home, what was not in our knowledge bank was the outdoor track season just got canceled as well. So then it really started, putting things in disarray. But there was still hope might be, the Olympic trials, the Olympic Games, and so on and so forth. And as those slowly got knocked off, it really made it real difficult. And that's when we went to our athletic director, and obviously he got it from our commissioner, is that, hey, we're still going to have a cross-country season. So even in late spring, early summer, we could still give hope to those kids that, hey, there's a reason why you're continuing to train. There is a goal at the end of this opportunity in the calendar. So stick with it and keep your nose to the grindstone. And then that just gave more momentum to the fall conditioning program for our sprinter jumpers and so on. So, we were able to hang on, and basically it was because of the communication coming from the SEC offices.
All right, thanks.
Yeah, real briefly, it's we have about 50 guys in our team, and 27 are competing this weekend. And those are the people that really bought in, Dan, over the whole long haul. Okay, I'd be lying to you if I said all 50 of our guys were in and going to take advantage of this time to get better and to work on their week. build on their strengths and all that stuff. The 27 that you see wearing our uniform are the ones that did that. And, that's, really, it was a telling time for us to see who was committed and who wasn't committed. And you're going to see the 27 committed guys out there that, made our squad and compete for a championship.
All right, thanks, guys. We'll see you in a couple days.
Thank you, Dan.
Right.
Nate, did you have another question?
Absolutely not. No, I think we got everything we needed.
Okay, Bob, how about yourself?
Yes, sorry to put you through this, Nate. You can sign off if you want to, but you guys, Chris, you scored meets. I know you guys won all your cross country meets. You won most of the track meets scored. I know, teams didn't necessarily use people the way they're going to use them this weekend, but the fact that you had success, from a team standpoint, how big was that? I'm asked Lance about that too, but I'd like to hear from Chris first.
It gave us an opportunity, Bob, these were collegiate only meets. We weren't allowed to have post collegiates or unattached people in there. So, it was easy for Lance and I to not only have the meet, but let's keep score. Let's kind of mimic what we're going to be doing at the end of the year, where there's a team score. We feel like that tells a story, even though you're right. We didn't set up our lineups each and every week to, win these meets. Really good teams and really good programs could win with different kind of lineups and different kinds of people doing whatever. So, we just felt like it was important. Track and field, we need more winners and losers. And, I think that's something during the regular season we miss. We're so into the individual performances and what have you. But again, when you look at the teams that came into our facility and Lance beat all of them. I mean, we beat 95% of them, and that tells a story. And I think it's really important. We don't do it enough. That's for sure.
And Lance, I was trying to think. I can't remember the last time you guys didn't win a competition, whether it was regular season. I mean, maybe or maybe Sean can figure it out. But how confident are you guys with the way? And the other day, I think you guys about doubled up Oregon, or I can't remember who finished second, whoever it was. And I know those aren't championship competitions, but
Right.
You guys have been kind of running roughshod over everybody pretty well.
Well, I think it reflects that we have a really good team, and Chris Johnson and Brian Compton just do a phenomenal job in their event areas to complement, what I do in the distances. But success breeds success. And if we can get any positive notoriety via, you and Nate locally and Alyssa and her staff, hey, we appreciate that. Our kids eat that up. I mean, they look forward to getting on the paper and see what is said about them or about their teammates. And the same with, the TV coverage. We're very fortunate that we're able to get coverage and we as coaches and coaching staffs really bank on and appreciate it. It's important.
I got my coworker here.
Yeah.
But I think I'm good. Do what?
I was wondering who wrote those articles.
Yeah. She's my editor. Looking over my shoulder all the time. I'm good.
Anybody else that had a question before we wrap up? All right, thank you, everybody. Appreciate it.
No, Elisa, we have one.
Guys, good to see you. And this is probably going to be a little more simplistic from Bob's questions. But again, I know you've had all of these SEC teams in here already, but just being able to be at home and the comfort level of racing at Tyson Indoor and that your athletes sleeping in their own bed, how much of an advantage is that for you guys?
Oh, I think it's, it's an advantage. There's no question about it. It's a blessing and a curse sometimes because you're at home and your kids are here. They're familiar with where everything is at. They know the flow of the meet, what have you. I will say that, most of the other schools have been here as well. So it's kind of like a home track for them in addition to us. But it's certainly the curse is that sometimes you get lost in the meet, hosting the meet itself. And so, no matter what, it still falls on the home teams to make sure that the officials are there and all that. So ultimately, it is great to be at home. We just wish we could have some fans watch these two really good teams.
Yeah, I reiterate that, the one missing key ingredient is the fans. So there's really no home field advantage. The only thing that is a little bit awry from normal is, or routine track, is that when we did travel, it helped unite the team. Whereas now a lot of these kids, they're just walking out of class and heading down to the track and like it's a normal practice day. And we're going, no. Notice the other colors of jerseys here. So much so that Coach Bucknam and our staff as well, we're putting our kids in hotels this weekend to give them the feel that, hey, we're going to unite as a team, and this is a big deal. The SEC meet is very important. So we're gonna be away from home at home.
Well, Lance doesn't have quite the problem I have. It's like herding cats on my team. So literally to see them get on the shuttle and go to the track, get on the bus and go to the track is a whole lot better than hoping they show up, when we're on campus during the regular season meet. So the gals are pretty good. My guys are knuckleheads. We gotta keep them corralled a little bit.
Well, the best of luck to you guys. Always good to see you. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Hey, Chris, my cat was offended by your herding cats comment.
No, it was a compliment.
Okay, well, I'll tell her that.
They're independent thinkers. That's like my guys.
Alrighty, anybody else? Appreciate everybody joining us today. Thank you again.
All right. Thanks, you guys.